Good morning. Welcome to the Loretta Brown Show. Radio to open the heart, heal the soul, and awaken the consciousness. Awaken! Awaken. I'm thinking about, when they said, how do you get it open? You go, open sesame, right?
Do you even know where that originated from at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm going to look at it.
Oh, yeah. Find that out for me.
Come on, Internet, do work today.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We always have great shows, and I am the owner of Reiki Oasis, located right here in the Greater Seattle area, entering our 22nd year in business. We offer all kinds of stuff. Did you get the answer?
I did right away. I was so fast on Google.
Wow.
Open Sesame is French, and it's a magical phrase in the story of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Originates from there. So
Alibaba and the 40 Thieves.
Right.
I remember that because he followed him, and he watched how he got it, and there was treasure. That's right.
That's where it originated from.
That's right. So the magic words, the keys, they do always open into the doors of treasure. But we need to know how to do it. I think that's a spiritual analogy.
Yeah, it opens the mouth of the cave in which the 40 thieves have a hidden treasure.
Uh-oh, the mouth of the cave and the 40 thieves.
Well, we got the mouth. That's me.
That's right.
Or is that you? No, that's you.
No, that's me.
That's you.
You're the great Vanini.
Right. Well, I'm very magical.
You are magical.
So see how this works?
I do.
Okay.
I see.
I'm finding something here eventually.
Well, it also brings in the power of sound and the power of speech. And, wow, I could do a whole show on that.
The hidden treasure is this show.
I know. We are the hidden treasure. And now you're listening in. What a great thing you've done this morning. You didn't even know it until now. Well,
boom.
I love how that happens. Yeah. So this is a great show. And we love it. And we're humble about it. And so there it is. So, like I say, I am the owner of Reiki Oasis. You want to find out more about me, you can find me at thelorettabrownshow.com or ReikiOasis.com. And we've got lots of good stuff coming up this Saturday. We have a workshop called Angels, and More Angels. And it's just another, people loved my other angel workshop so much they asked for another one. And this goes a little bit further and a little bit deeper. And you're going to have a lot of fun. You will have communication. You will get messages, and you will be with very heartfelt, like-minded people, which is very important in today's times and energies. The Temple of the Divine Feminine is coming up Saturday, May 20th. Sunday, May 21st is a Reiki Sharing Circle and the monthly class. And May 28th, there will be a stress-releasing soundscape at Bala Yoga in Kirkland. So you can get tickets for everything at schedule.reikioasis.com, except for the things at Bala Yoga in Kirkland. You will have to get your tickets through Bala Yoga, and you can find that online or through Facebook. Or, you know what? If you have questions, just send me a little message to Loretta@reikioasis.com, and I'll get right back with you. I want to thank all the Patreons. We are a listener-supported show. We are live radio, live. We are breathing this morning to make sure that we're present. And wow, what a beautiful full moon. Benny, did you look at the moon?
I caught a little bit of it. Meanwhile, I was busy working on the house. So, yes, I did catch moments of it.
I saw pictures of a car. I did.
There was that too.
Yeah, you had stuff going on.
That was, I think, a couple days earlier. That was Sunday, I believe.
That was Sunday. Yeah. Last night I was headed home, and the moon, was just so big, hanging in the sky. And this beautiful full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. In Vedic astrology, it's called the Vishaka. The full moon in the area of the sky, the Vishaka Nakshatra. And so this full moon is asking you to step into your power. And it is shining a light of clarity and purpose into the darkness of uncertain times. So for those hesitating or indecisive, this full moon is piercing through the fog of fear and confusion with new hope and inspiring plans. So seize this day to recall your vision of the future and reconnect to the source of determination and courage within you to achieve it. You know, sometimes as we go through life, we sort of fall off to the side, or I don't know. You know, there's a lot of energy out there, my listeners. As you know, there's a lot of things flying around. And of course, we've had a lot of ascension things going on. that make us feel a little unsettled. So this is a good time to come back to yourself. This full moon, is called the star of purpose in Vedic astrology, and Vishaka means forked or branched, and it invokes the brilliant image of a lightning bolt branching across the sky. Vishaka grants victory over self-doubt by enhancing the ability to aim and shoot the far-off targets of our dreams. So this full moon can help you recover from all sorts of losses, including financial and career troubles. So if it seems a battle was lost, look for a miraculous comeback and some impressive long-term gains. Meditation is enhanced by this moon because it's going to help your mental concentration and your one-pointed focus. In India, this Vishaka full moon is also celebrated as the Buddha Purnima, the birthday of the Buddha, who taught illumination through steady focus of the mind. Be aware that Venus, the planet of love and enjoyment, has great influence over this moon and is expanding consciousness through relationships as she moves the heart into deeper and more steady ground. And don't we all need to be working on that heart right now? It's the key. If you have a sweet tooth or a weakness for extravagant purchases, be careful not to overdo it right now. And also be aware there is a stubborn side to this Vishaka full moon, and people may seem more difficult than usual. You might even be feeling a little more difficult than usual, especially if you're threatened. So be patient, be kind, be the beautiful, beautiful souls that you know yourself to be. And like I say, this is the perfect time to visualize your goals, to reconnect with your dreams, and to really plan ways to achieve them. Let's turn those dreams into reality. Let's really do what we came to do, to help on the planet. Now, I have a lovely guest today. I'm excited and thrilled to have her on the show. Her name is Rashmi Khilnani, and she has written books and done a movie. We're going to talk about that. But she was born in Chandigarh, India, and she spent the first 6 years of her life in Cairo, Egypt, the magical place. She went on to study and teach with world-renowned avatars, gurus, and teachers, and she became a specialist in energy medicine. She's on the forefront in bringing the ancient mystery school teachings of Egypt, India, Tibet, and China, as well as the teachings of the Essenes, into current time, and making these wisdoms simple and accessible to people at all levels of soul journeying. Yay for that, Rashmi. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Loretta. A big hello and namaste from London.
Yes, from London. Wow, that's wonderful. It's just great to have you here. I am just fascinated by you. You know, you've got your 3 books here, which I want to mention already on the show. You've got Shiva Speaks, Buddha Speaks, and the Divine Mother Speaks. And I'm going to say those again for the listeners because, you know, quite often listeners can look things up and already be thinking, gee, I probably want that book. These books are lovely. They're not real big, but there's something about them, Rashmi. I think maybe it's a vibration. It's something about your voice. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit, but let me just say the names again. Shiva Speaks, Buddha Speaks, and the Divine Mother Speaks, the healing of the human heart. Even the title of that book is just fantastic. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Just kind of introduce yourself to the listening audience, because I know many people don't know who you are over here.
Where do you want me to begin?
Yeah, it's a good question. Let me help direct that a little bit. When because you do a lot of channeling, and you're really I don't really know what to call you. I'm going to say, please correct it, but like a bridge between this world and the next. And
yeah.
When did you realize?
Dimension.
Yeah, dimension. Very good. When did you realize that you were perhaps a little different than other people?
Even when I was a child, I realized that playing by the sands of the Great Pyramid of Giza and talking to the goddess Hathor in the sky out of my balcony in Zamalek in the center of Cairo. And so, yeah, really most of my life, and I've lived in, 3 different continents. So I grew up for the first 6 years in Egypt and then London for the next 3 years wanting to become a Christian because I used to go to Sunday school with the neighbors that were Protestant priests, children. And then going back to India at the age of 10, where, all the Indian gods and goddesses and on trips back to India and between. So subjected to so many different spiritual streams and religions and cultures and moving around so much, But it was many years later after leaving my rich husband and homes across the globe that I decided to follow the life of Lord Buddha. Yesterday was his birthday. And my second book is Buddha Speaks to the Buddha Nature Within. And so I left my homes and my beautiful husband, who was my friend and still is a friend, and went to Zero and decided to teach meditation in Kensington, London. And then I went on to flying to the States, learning Reiki, meeting. I asked to meet living gurus that are enlightened, that I would be able to tell are enlightened, not just Jesus and the other beings that I was connected to, somehow. And so that happened. And then as I kept teaching the different levels of Reiki, I studied way beyond the normal Usui and Tibetan Reiki mastery and became an original 7-degree Reiki teacher and also a mastery in Rakuke and Sekam, Seishim, Sekim, which are different systems of Reiki mastery in the Egyptian system. And as I became a psychic surgeon and so on, these beings, the ascended masters and the archangelic, started coming through in sessions and initiations for my students. And I then realized I was a teacher of the shepherds as opposed to the sheep. And then 10 or 12 years ago, I had breast cancer. So having facilitated many in the healing of cancer and so many diseases, I caught the disease. But I took it on for many reasons, and that's what I explained in my books a little bit. Because we've done this to Earth, with the chemicalization and the radiation and the cutting of Mother Earth. And I took it all on the allopathic route to show transmutation.
Wow, that is, as you say, a lot. I think that our journeys, our journeys are amazing. It kind of raised a couple of questions. I study Reiki also. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we talk a lot in the classes, and I'm just doing a little question here because I get asked this question a lot. With the different types of Reiki, can you make a comment about that, like the different because you mentioned 3 or 4 different styles of Reiki or different...
Well, there are, there's all these derivatives of Reiki, such as angelic Reiki and so on. I'm not knocking it. But I followed, once you become a Usui master, you also become a Tibetan Reiki master. And at level 3A, you study psychic surgery. Mm-hmm. So at level 1 of Reiki, you study how you have an initiation to reconnect you like a TV channel to hands-on Reiki for yourself and others. In level 2, you learn 3 sacred symbols for long-distance healing and for emotional body balancing and mental body clearing. So the Seheki, the Chokure, and the Honsha Vijayan is for the now moment, to bring you into the now place. Mm-hmm. And then in level 3A, which is the beginning of the mastery level, you study psychic surgery. Many people bypass this level, but in the main teachers and the mainstream, going back in the lineages, that is important. And then in level 3B, you learn to initiate others into the 3 levels of Reiki, energy mastery, and all the teaching that goes with it. So, and then you have the Tibetan symbols that are given for the initiation. But then you can go on, and that's where people don't understand. They can go on to Karuna Reiki, which William Lee Rand copyrighted it, and the symbols were given to some Reiki masters that went to see Satya Sai Baba. Mm-hmm. And we have 8 sacred geometrical symbols for, healing all sorts of things, such as abuse and cellular memory release and shadow healing, which is so important. And all these things are not covered in the other levels of Reiki. You see?
Yes,
then you go on after Karuna Reiki, you go on to original 7-degree Reiki, which covers this Rakuke, which is shamanic Reiki, which is the raku, which is the fireball. And that goes into the Tibetan Reiki systems and the Tibetan deepest esoteric wisdom of the mouth of God and the initiations and the Nagual, which is so it's a very deep subject. And then you go into the three systems of Reiki mastery and other levels of original 7-degree Reiki. And then you get into the Egyptian three systems, all of which have separate sacred geometrical systems. And the final level is the Sekhem. And in the Sekhem, the goddess Hathor shifts, the goddess Sekhmet changes to Hathor in the last initiation. Mm-hmm. And it takes a long time usually to study Sekhem. And it's very much in the here and now. So Reiki comes from the crown the soul star chakra, from source, from universal life force energy, into the crown, into the heart, out of the hand. But in Sekhem, the energy goes down to the center of the earth, the core of Mother Earth, and back up. And it's very present. So in Reiki, you're not always grounded unless you're using the chokure and other forms of intention, plus intention equals manifestation. Whereas in Sekhem, you totally are, because the energies are going from heaven down into earth and then back up in the heart and out the hands or through intention. And so each level you just learn what you don't already know, just as a person who doesn't know Reiki doesn't know what we're talking about.
Right,
Except if they've had a session, you see. So there are deeper levels we can go to. But that's not everybody's path.
Right. No, I appreciate that clarity. You know, I was in the Great Pyramid
It's a huge subject.
Yeah.
And my book, The Divine Mother Speaks, is Reiki energy mastery made simple. The wisdom teaching of all time and energy mastery made simple. And so I also studied something called advanced sound wave energy therapy, which is inaudible sound. There's cellular memory and that. It's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And it works on the electromagnetic field. It works on neuropeptides and neurotransmitters. But you see, I created a book called The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, which is the goddess Hathor channeling, as opposed to creating the next system beyond Sekhem. And I didn't want to do that because there's so much politics as well, unfortunately, amongst the founders of some of the... So just as Dr. Yusui rediscovered Reiki, the other teachers rediscovered it, and then they think that they can copyright it and own it. And I didn't want to do that. And so I channeled a book that everybody can get for £13 or $20, and they can read those books because it's a wake-up time now. And what we had to go through of spending thousands of pounds for our courses and huge gaps between each level, today people are waking up at much rapid rate because we were the pioneers at the time, you know? And so a lot of what the rules of Reiki were have shifted.
Right. Well, what I find fascinating is a few years ago I was in Egypt and went into the Great Pyramid and went into the Queen's Chamber, and in the back there was the Hanja Zejanen written. Somebody had written it on the wall in the Queen's Chamber, and I was inspired to chant in there. But
sorry, I'm losing you slightly. Could you speak a little louder? I'm losing you slightly.
Yes. I said a few years back I was in the Great Pyramid.
Queen's Chamber,
the Queen's Chamber, yes, and saw a Reiki symbol. Somebody had written it on the wall inside the Queen's Chamber, and So it's just I'm just listening to the synchronicity here because you answered a great question for me just now. Yeah.
So, for example, Patrick Ziegler, I mean, we could do 10 shows just on this subject. It's a very big subject. And I'm, one of the top 5 Reiki teachers in the world in terms of I've actually studied all this and been initiated in past lives as well. And I have taught masters. So, sometimes people are Reiki masters, haven't taught all the levels that they've learned.
Right.
But I have, and I've taken it to area for the first time, such as the original 7 and so on. And so Patrick Ziegler, backtracking on the Seishim, he was in the King's Chamber, and he smuggled himself in there and spent the night in the King's Chamber, and that's when he downloaded Seishim. And then Helen Bellow created Sekhem out of that and channeled new symbols, but then she got all into copyright wars. And so that's what I didn't want to do with the next level, which is the Hathor level, which is the benevolent eye of Horus. and the Sekhmet is more the warrior aspect, Kali. And these are archetypal energies. So there's a chapter in the Divine Mother Speaks, the Healing of the Human Heart, on the archetypal energies. And so though it's within the Egyptian system, you can then any archetypal energies you like. These energies exist within each and every one of us. And Reiki is such a huge system out there for people to wake up now. Mm-hmm. The key that the archangelics and ascended masters are using to help humanity awaken again.
Yeah. Well, I've got your book here, The Divine Mother Speaks, and I love the little subtitle, The Healing of the Human Heart. I mean, that's the name of it. And I want to remind the listeners, this book is readily available. I think they can buy it on Amazon.com. And it is, as Rashmi is saying, this is sort of, I actually think this is one of the most important books I've ever read. I have to be honest with you. It's got so much in it in a small format, but it really, even holding the book makes my heart, it's doing something to my heart,
exactly.
Rashmi. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, because I say to people, even if you don't read the book, and just keep it by your bedside, and just understand the Divine Mother energy is within you, and it's an unconditional loving energy, as opposed to even our mothers and fathers, they did the best they could. But this is totally that energy of the divine feminine from source. And it's a handbook. It's not something you just read cover to cover. Mm-hmm. You can pick a page any day, connect to your heart, pick a page, read a couple of lines even, and then it's a deep meditation. It carries the energy behind the words, so it can help people shift. And, this was the gift of the goddess Hathor, who is the goddess of the heart, the Venusian energy. And this is the time of the rising of the divine feminine in the hearts of men and women. So it's not a gender thing. It's the energy of being, allowing, creating, co-creating, holding, emptying to receive, and beauty, dance, fertility, and sexuality and sensuality.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to take a little break. Before we do that, I want to remind the listeners, or let the listeners know, that my guest today is Rashmi Khilnani, and she's calling, we're talking to her from Kensington, London, and we're going to open the lines. If you want to this is a wonderful opportunity for you to ask a question of a very high vibrational being. I mean, I'm not even quite sure what to call you, Rashmi, but it's just your energy is just so lovely. The phone number at the radio station is 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-5569. And this is Loretta Brown. We're talking about her books right now, The Divine Mother Speaks, Shiva Speaks, and Buddha Speaks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Loretta Brown Show. And you can find out more about me at thelorettabrownshow.com. Imagine that. Yeah. And you can join us on Facebook at The Loretta Brown Show. And also you can find me at ReikiOasis.com. My guest today is the amazing Rashmi Khilnani. She is an author. She is a bridge, I'm going to say, between this dimension and many other dimensions, and many guides and avatars and spiritual beings that assist us. The lines are open if you want to call in with a question. The number's 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-5569. And I do say this all the time, but if you're listening and your heart is beating a little fast like a bird trying to get out of a cage, or you're like, oh my goodness, I really do have a question, you're like that, then you're the one that's supposed to call in. So don't be afraid, because your questions help everybody. We all have questions, and we're all connected somehow. So we've been talking about Rashmi's book, The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart. And before break, I was mentioning this book is I think it activates your heart chakra in a big way, because it's activating mine. But Rashmi, I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about who Hathor is.
Hathor is the ancient Egyptian goddess of the sky. She's depicted as a cow and many different ways in all the ancient Egyptian temples. Hathor is extremely important and the greatest, one of the most important deities. And this is the energy of the heart, and it's very connected to Venus. And the Hathor beings are 13-foot tall beings that are 13-dimensional. And Tom Kenyon, who I met in Orcas Island when I stayed with Richard Bach, and I went there with my friend and student and publisher Robert Friedman.
Yeah, I know Tom.
So we met Tom Kenyon, and Tom has written a book called The Hathor Material with Virginia Essene. And so they said he's very reclusive, and I said, well, I want to meet him. And so he met me because he was so excited to meet me because of the Hathor connection. And he saw these beings all around me. And so they are specialists in sound energy, and they're 13-dimensional. And Tom Kenyon, of course, has made them very famous on the planet. And the goddess Hathor is the goddess energy of the Hathor beings. And so it's time for another golden age now. And I'm very connected from my ancient Egyptian lifetimes to the high priestess energy, queen energy, pharaoh energy, all those different things. Some of it is all mentioned in my book as well. The Divine Mother Speaks. And it's not my book. These are wisdom teachings that I was guided to channel. Within 21 days, I channeled them. I spoke them out, and I got another REM, Reiki Energy Mastery teacher, channel friend to transcribe, and she kept going out of her body from time to time. So I'm a heart specialist on this planet, and I'm a specialist of helping people open their hearts. And since I was a little kid, I knew about this golden heart energy and that I was different in a sense. But it's interesting to see now so many of the later indigos are, also reflecting some of these energies. But the fact that I was conceived in Egypt and then born in India and then lived in Egypt as well, and my mom said I was talking to this cow in the sky. And so it was just amazing, the whole thing. And I know that I'm really here to help awaken human hearts. As part of the divine plan that the Ascended Masters, the Archangelics, and so many light workers like yourself, and all of us, really, are one energy within the unified field of consciousness. So, and the portal to the new frequencies of multidimensionality, quantum being, and the now moment is the heart. The heart is the portal, and we're talking about the cosmic heart within.
Is it Hathor? Hathor? Hathor.
It's Hathor.
Hathor. Okay, because people say
Hathor, and it can be spelled Hator and also Hathor. So and the book, it's all about energy, but it's also about how to take the baby steps to begin to hear the soft voice of the heart. And not to just be emotional and fall in love with the next person, and get yourself, because everyone on this planet, each and every one of us, have had broken hearts for 26,000 years in the patriarchal cycle, which is, fight, flight, dominate, war, my will against your will, competition, divide and rule, and very left hemispheric ways of being. So the book helps us to reconnect through firing the encodings, the DNA from 2 to 12 DNA helix, and remembering who we be through the heart energies, the feeling body, and our intuition.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important books I've read. So I highly recommend it to everybody. I was thinking while you were talking about sound and the Hathors, and forgive me, I call them the Hathors if that's wrong. I can't even remember.
That's okay. That's not the problem here. And I don't know the Egyptian pronunciation anyways. I haven't bothered to channel it.
When I was in Egypt.
Call us what you like.
Yeah, they probably call us what they want to. But I had a strong connection with them and Sekhmet when I was in Egypt. And also yeah. So when you're talking.
I remember when I gave the book to kneeled on the wall, she threw it on the bed, and I was like, huh? Because, I made the film iGod with him, and that's on Amazon and Beyond Words and iTunes. The books are all on Amazon, iTunes, Nook, Kindle, Watkins bookstores, Rainbow Ridge Books, Square One Publishers. You can easily get these books, and even I had people in America reading them off their iPhones, in California. So when I met him, he just chucked the book, and I looked at his wife, Em, and we were just like, whoa. And he said, "Oh, I don't read other people's channel books because I don't want to affect my channel." And then she picked up the book very sweetly, and she said, we're so connected to the goddess Hathor because when Neil and I were at the Louvre in Paris, we were really connecting to the statue of Hathor. And so that was very interesting. And I was working with him a bit on the Divine Mother energy for his heart as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, like I say, that this heart energy, this opening of the heart, is so important right now. And I know that in the book you talk about forgiveness, forgiveness. And I think it's one of the biggest things for us right now is, what is forgiveness? How do we forgive? As you say, that we've been suffering from brokenheartedness for, 26,000 years, and our hearts are hurting. And we're having issues with, we've got such a dichotomy of energies out there. Are we in fear? Are we in love? And if we say we're in love, what does that mean? Because it can be very, maybe oversimplified. I don't know. But maybe you could talk to that for just a moment or two. Yeah.
So you want me to talk about forgiveness?
Yes.
So basically, each of us has to sort of slow down to connect with who we are, to connect to this heart energy. And how do we do that? By being in nature, or being with children, or being very creative with art, or something more right hemispheric, or through meditation, chanting, Reiki, initiation, and breathing deeply, such as rebirthing or Kriya Yoga, and so on. And then as we begin to do that, then we begin to connect with self-love, which is a key now for every single human. That's the whole of the lesson of, Earth School. We come in lifetime after lifetime to learn self-love, and all our programming tells us the opposite, that it's selfish to love yourself, that it's, who are we to shine, who are we to love ourselves, and so on. And as we begin to take those baby steps, the forgiveness comes up. And the first person to forgive is ourselves, because our mind is saying, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, our emotions are making us wrong and bad, our teacher, parent, minister made us not enough. And so for most people, the personal lies, I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough, or I'm rubbish, And so as we learn to love and forgive ourselves, then forgiving the other becomes so much easier. And then as we go deeper and understand the unified field of consciousness, then there's no one to forgive even. You know what I mean? But we do have to go through the previous steps, as I said. We can't bypass the clearing of the emotional body vis-a-vis the imprinting we've taken on and the karmic cause and effect, of our past. So today I might understand that I'm the unified field of consciousness, and therefore there's nothing to forgive even of the guy who murdered my father, in the house, the domestic help. But I still had to reach that place by taking other steps to love and forgive myself, and to understand more deeply, and to clear forgiveness around my mother or whoever it was at the time, Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I think we're going to... Should we take a caller, Benny?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. We're going to take Gul calling in from Seattle. Hello, Gul.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Loretta. Hi there. Loretta, I met you last year, and you were such a part of a huge shift for me, and I wanted to thank you, and I'm due to come to see you again.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to call, and I've just joined, I've just kind of entered into the independent media, and it just came about in a very interesting way, which, I'll spare you of that, but I'm having exactly, you just touched on that there's a lot of self-negative talk, and I'm not good enough, and I'm just trying to figure out if I'm in the right path and how I can use it for the good. What's if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rashmi.
So the question, darling, is whether to continue on your self-healing path?
Just to see how I can use how I can use this medium, how to be a good source in it, just exactly for what you're talking about this new path that we're all in as human beings. I'm trying to figure out my role in it and how, just kind of, there's this self stuff that, like you were saying, there's a lot of negative talk and, I'm not good enough or I'm not articulate enough or knowledgeable enough. But also just wanted to see if I'm in the right realm.
So you like to be a medium?
I don't know. I don't know what I would like to be. I'm just kind of, exactly,
okay,
I guess in a way.
You feel your gift is mediumship.
I think so. I guess.
Okay.
I don't have those exact words.
Okay, now I got it, because the line is just slightly unclear. Yeah, okay, yeah, well, don't doubt yourself. And I think what's really important is grounding. So do you feel in your body? Do you feel grounded? Do you practice grounding?
I don't.
Or intend grounding? Okay.
No.
So that's very important. I'm reading your energy field, if you don't mind. And I'm
sure.
seeing that grounding is very important for you. So how do we ground? So as we said, universal truth is, one of the universal laws is attention plus intention equals manifestation. So if you just say earth, 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 you ground. If you say, I pop my whole being, my four body system into my body here now, it happens. Through walking bare feet sometimes, through being in nature, through hugging trees, through lying on the grass, through lying on the floor at home. So that would really help you to start manifesting, because right now you're very connected to the higher realms. Am I right?
I guess. I'm doubting that, but I guess.
You feel expanded.
I am.
You don't feel so comfortable in your body walking around in 3D stuff sometimes. Is that?
I feel comfortable with that. But I do get the part where you're saying my feet are not on the ground always. Yeah.
Okay. So if we are bringing heaven to earth, and so if we don't ground, it's tree without the roots. And so the branches are going high up, but the first bit of wind comes and, you're toppled because of that. And so as you ground, you will feel your feelings. So the reasons why human beings don't like to ground is because they don't want to feel their feelings. Because for 26,000 years, our feelings have, we feel like they're going to kill us, because we've been very left hemispheric. We've been very mind-oriented. The mind is there to control and so on. And so as you ground, you will feel your feelings, but feel them in baby steps. And that's where the Divine Mother book can really help people. And then you will start feeling that self-love for yourself and love even the bits that you criticize, and watch your mind, because your mind is going to say a whole lot of stuff that's really not real. You can just say thank you, but I choose my heart right now. I choose my knowingness. And then you help others with the energies, because then your mind, you'll know how to clear your mind out of the way before you do channelings and readings for others. And also they'll come to you because you're in your body.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Is that helpful?
I think so, yeah. I think being grounded was a good message for me.
Yeah, let me magnify that message a little bit, Gala, if you want to hang on for just a second, because Rashmi is saying something so important. And, when we are divine workers or having that high energy come through us, many people spend so much time reaching up, they forget to reach down. And we literally have to have the energy come down into our hearts, our solar plexus, down the roots, all the way down into the womb of the world and back up. Because only in that way are we grounded and I'm going to say safe, not in a scary way, but we're bringing it down to this dimension. And so,
balanced. We're balanced.
Between
terrestrial and celestial energies, which is what we're each going to be doing. This is what heaven on earth is going to be. This is what fifth dimensional frequency ascension is all about. Bringing it down.
That's right.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
And then with trust, just relax. Don't try so hard. I think you've got a natural ability, and that love energy is important, self-love, and then just open up. And of course, Divine wants to use you. Of course.
She will help many people. You will help so many others. But we just start with ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
The Egyptian infinity symbol in my book, The Divine Mother Speaks, which is we begin with ourselves, and as we meditate and work on self-love, then that flows out to others, and then others are facilitated as well. I'm not so crazy about the word help, but within language we use it. But ultimately, that love then flows to others, and if we charge something for what we're doing, and we have good boundaries, there's no harm in that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for calling in, because that was a great question. And I think we all take a look at that. In your book, Rashmi, and once again, for those listening, my guest is Rashmi Khilnani. We're talking mostly about her book, The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart. She also has great books, Shiva Speaks and Buddha Speaks, and a movie called iGod, which we'll talk about if we've got time. But there's a quote in the book which kind of goes along with that question. And The Divine Mother Speaks, there's a quote in there, an enlightened being has no attachment to the illusion of their past or their future. They give themselves the present of their presence in the present.
That's lovely.
I love that.
It's like every time I hear my book, it's like, did I channel all that?
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I knew it, but the way it came through was, it's not like there was any information in there that I went. But the way it came through was just wow, really wow.
Wow. Yeah.
There was no thinking. Except, when Amravati went, you can't say that. They will kill you for saying that. And I was like, okay, let's look at that. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. You're being overruled right now. Keep typing.
Yeah.
Because, this was channeled quite a few years ago now.
But
since then already so much has shifted.
Yeah. It takes
courage.
It does.
It takes courage of the heart. Everything takes courage now. But that's another big energy of the heart. That's why people don't want to be lost. They don't want to be courageous. And yet when we are, there's nothing to be afraid of. Because we have to create the new. The old isn't really working, is it?
No, not at all. It isn't. And it's causing a lot of people a lot of consternation. And, I know you are definitely a big voice for this of the heart, the opening of the heart, and also with being love, in your Shiva Speaks book, with Mahavatar Babaji, there's a lot of talk about love. And
in all three, love comes in, even in the Buddha book, which is, Buddha did away with God. And it was a detached, compassionate energy, but of course it was also extremely loving. And so in the Divine Mother book, it is about love. She is the goddess of love, Venus, Venusian energy, beauty, harmony, dance, song, celebration, all of that lovely energy. But in the other two, and the Shiva energy is, it's also extremely loving energy, really. It's not just about destruction of the lower octave.
Yeah. So in the Divine Mother book, you also say, and I love this quote too, I give you a little secret here. In these times of speeding up, the only way not to be giddy and feel like you are falling off the roller coaster of accelerated change is through setting aside time to slow down, right? So we have been, a lot of my clients have been coming to me talking about feeling this accelerated change or feeling a little bit off. We might call them ascension symptoms, but the last couple of weeks in particular, people have been sharing feeling like they're I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. One woman said to me, I feel like I'm inside this vehicle called the body, but the body is not me. And I can
Beautiful.
I can move it around, but it's not me. And so I'm feeling a little,
disoriented.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this lady had been on a path for a while, or she was just sort of somebody who
she has been
woken up to some of the...
Mm-hmm.
She's been on the path for a while?
Yeah, but not intensely.
Right.
Not intensely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Wow.
So
that's really beginning to happen for a lot of us, even that have been on the path for eons. It's like, wow, this experiment has never happened on this planet ever before. It hasn't happened anywhere in the universe. So everything comes from nothingness into multiverses, and so behind everythingness is nothingness, and that's the bit that's missing, in the West. And also now East has become so Western, and it scares the daylights out of people, Mm-hmm. And so they have access to it a little bit in meditation, or when they're wholehearted about their dancing, painting, singing, or anything. You get these glimpses. But, if I talk even to some of the spiritual leaders of America and the world on my radio shows, the Rashmi Khilnani show that I was doing for a while, and if I bring in the nothingness energy, then most of them are still not very comfortable with that. And I think that's where we have to become comfortable with this energy. It's the chalice energy, the unmanifest, the 0 point energy, the black hole energy, from which everything is spring. So in nothingness we are peace and silence and expansion and calm. And in everythingness we are love. These are the two energies. So that's what she was feeling. She was feeling nothingness and everythingness at the same time, and also her expansion. And therefore, within expansion, I talk about in the Buddha book, Buddha speaks through me as well, or speaks to me as my Buddha nature, which is that, you're all of these different things. You're the detached witness of your mind, body, and intellect. You are not the mind, body, and intellect. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna, gives this deep wisdom. And that's what people get when they become deep meditators, and or through deep chanting as well, and initiations and so on. So
would you call that the Buddha mind? Is that?
Buddhi mind, Buddha mind,
okay.
Buddhi mind, where the third eye opens, there's expansion, and then you can watch yourself, as yourself moving around in the world almost. There's different ways it happens. So the boundaries blur, and you pop out of just being in a mesmerized 3D state, and you move into 4D, which is time, and then you move into the fifth 5D, which is beyond time and space. So many students, when I was teaching Reiki a lot, were like, "Oh, you already appeared to us as this golden light last night, and we had the initiation already." These are people I don't know, and they've shown up, the next day in the temple here in Kensington, which I sold to write the books and do the film and do the mission in the States. So, it's like then we can biolocate in so many things, and we don't even need to know everything we're doing, because that's just the mind, and it's quite limited, The electromagnetic energies of the heart, as you know, Loretta, are so limitless, and there's an intelligence, a brain in the heart energy. But to just have heart energy without the grounding is not there. And I work on the spiritual leaders. I know that sounds grandiose, but it's a job. And it's not easy, because a lot of them don't know what they don't know. And they don't know, and they have egos as well. We all do, actually. We all have to have some ego. Ego's not all bad. You need a little bit. But if it's running the show, then it's always going to give, misery.
Yeah.
So, many of them are disjointed from either they're very in the wisdom energy, but they're not grounded, or they're grounded, but they're not in the heart energy. They're in the wisdom and grounded energy, or they're in the heart energy, but they're not in the, we have to bring these bits together. And ultimately, we're not the different chakras, even. It's all one big electromagnetic field of love and light.
Oh, that's well said.
And begins in nothingness. That's where everything gets creative. Einstein came to that. Van Gogh, all the great geniuses. They're like, when you're not thinking, then everything happens. That's how the books happen. That's how the film happened. I was told, you will make a film with the spiritual leaders of America. Well, I was like, yeah, right, But I just made a space and went into nothingness, and then it all happened. Effortlessly, almost. on some levels. There was no pushing and pulling involved.
I have to tell you, I understand that process because that's the way it's been with like when I created Reiki Oasis. In the last minute or two that we've got in the show, can you talk? We've got 1 minute. Very briefly, the movie is called iGod, small I, God, and I do want to mention that. And to the listeners, I want to remind you that my guest today is Rashmi Khilnani. She's internationally known healer, teacher, lecturer, author, artist, amazing person. Her books are The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, Shiva Speaks, and Buddha Speaks. And Rashmi, it's so great to have you on the show. Do you have like one last sentence? One sentence, quickly.
Well, I just want to say my website is rashmikhilnani.com, and I'm on Facebook, and there are pages for all the books and the film. And for each one to just now connect to their grounded heart energies and allow their self-love in baby steps and see the magic, mystery, and creativity that's going to unfold. And drop the old stories, because have the courage to jump into a new story and a new dream.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Heart and love to you. And be blessed, all my listeners. Be kind to each other. And we'll talk to you next time.